In this video, we'll be playing a game that this dude has been begging me to test for God knows how long. Black Mesa. No, not the Spanish word for table. This one. Black Mesa is a remake of Half-Life 1. Since it's a remake, it obviously has much better visuals than the original Half-Life from 1998, but it also asks for much more powerful hardware in contrast to the original game. So today, we will see if my old Lenovo laptop with a potato Celeron and Intel HD graphics can run this amazing remake, and how to make it look like something? So let's go! I will first be using the potato quality preset, aka the lowest settings that we can use by default. I even set the sound quality to low just in case, and I'm using the lowest resolution allowed by default of 800 by 600. First impressions weren't too bad. The game maintained a reasonable 30 plus frame rate and it wasn't running too badly. 1 minute later though, in this intensive area, the FPS dropped to the teens. But hey, it's just a single area. Surely the rest of the game doesn't suffer from frame drops, so I moved on. Another thing to notice is the crappy visuals, especially the textures. Yeah, there's a reason why the lowest settings are called potato settings. Anyway, getting out of the train and entering inside the facility itself, the performance was overall decent enough. After you reach the test chamber, and spoiler alert, Gordon Freeman causes a disaster that effectively dooms the entire planet, the performance becomes mediocre again. The poor little beige rail Intel HD graphics really struggle with handling these fancy effects. Whenever there's a complex sequence with a lot of effects, the FPS dropped like absolute crazy. It's even worse when you're in a vast open area. In the surface tension chapter, for example, which indeed begins in a vast open area with a lot of enemies and interactive objects on screen, the little Celeron just dies completely. These FPS make aiming a huge challenge and gave the Marines the ability to teleport, which made my already noobish aim even worse. Still, I managed to deal with all the Marines in this area and even make the helicopter go away all in one go without dying while I was recording, so that's a very nice achievement with the Celeron N2840. We know the performance isn't very consistent. In many instances, you get reasonable 20 to 45 FPS and even as much as 60 plus FPS sometimes. When there's an intensive sequence going on, however, or when you're in a large open area, well, expect as low as single-digit FPS. And guess what? I'm gonna fix it, or at least try to fix it. If you guys remember watching LowSpecGamer back in the old days, you might have also watched this video, where he turns Half-Life 2 into Half-Life -99. All of his lag fix videos are actually still available, they're just hidden in a playlist. In the description of his Half-Life 2 video, he shared a link to all the commands that he used to destroy Half-Life 2's graphics, and I too will share the link. Thankfully, these commands can also be used for Black Mesa. We're first going to copy the commands, then I'll go to where I installed Black Mesa, then you need to go to BMS, CFG. Here, you have to open the autoexec.cfg file with Notepad, which is where we'll paste the commands. But we're not done yet. Among the commands that we just pasted, we need to find and delete mat show low res image. The reason why we're removing this specific command is because it causes the game to crash during startup. It's a bit of a shame that we can't use that command because it's the command that downgrades the textures to Gameboy level. Oh well. In addition, using the mat set video mode command, you can force the game to run at below the lowest resolution allowed by default. You need to add the preferred resolution by typing the width and height separated from each other as I did it, and you also need to add a 0 if you want to play in full screen or 1 if you want to play in windowed mode. Unfortunately, or more like fortunately, the lowest resolution that works is 640 by 480. I've tried to make the game run at below 640 by 480 using windowed mode. I even tried lowering my desktop resolution, but nothing worked. If you want to revert the changes, just delete all the commands that we added to the autoexec. Since the game reverts much of the commands every time you start a new game or load a save file, you need to enable the developer console from the game settings. Pressing this button opens the console by default. In the console, type exec autoexec and hit enter to make sure all the commands are applied. Ladies and gentlemen, this is how to make the remake of Half-Life 1 look worse than the original game itself. The textures now look like Minecraft textures despite the much show low res image command not working here. The lighting is completely broken and many objects are now black for some reason. The sky is also completely broken and can give you epilepsy within 30 seconds of looking at it, and just look at what Zen has turned into. The game is definitely smoking some high quality drugs right now. Take note, kids. Oh, and guess what? The performance is nearly the same as before. I'm not saying that there isn't any improvement whatsoever performance wise, but yeah. The frame drops are still here. Apparently even turning the game into Hallucination simulator is not enough for this Celeron. But what about an old version of Black Mesa? Well, there is the mod version that is available in ModDB and it's from 2012. Before Black Mesa was even a standalone game. To play the old mod version of Black Mesa, you need to install something called Source SDK base 2007, and you can do it from Steam for free. In Steam, go to Library, then click where it says Games on the top left and tick the Tools option. You should see Source SDK base 2007 appear in the list for you to install it, which I've already done. After that, extract the mod to where you've installed Steam, Steam Apps, Source Mods. I've already done it, so I won't be doing it again. Once again, I'm using the lowest settings. Everything is either disabled or set to as low as it can go, and I'm using the lowest resolution allowed of 640 by 480. All in all, the performance is a little bit better compared to the standalone game. In many areas, there is a big improvement in terms of FPS, and in some really lightweight areas, I even saw more than 100 FPS. Unfortunately, the frame drops that are present in the standalone game are still here, although they aren't as severe. Another thing to note is that the CPU is now severely bottlenecking the integrated graphics, with the utilization of the Intel HD Bay Trail remaining pretty low throughout my testing. This means that the mod version of Black Mesa should run well even on extremely weak graphics cards. And I mean weaker than the Intel HD graphics used here, which are already weaker than the GeForce Q10, provided the CPU is good enough, of course. Keep in mind that this version of Black Mesa doesn't include the Zen chapters, but there is another mod that adds the Zen chapters, although it doesn't require the Black Mesa mod itself to work, and there is a project that's currently being worked on that aims to transform the original Gold Source Half-Life into Black Mesa. And because of course you guys want to see it, here's the 2012 Black Mesa mod with those amazing commands that we saw earlier in action. This time even the much show low res image command works. Look at the shared VRAM usage, by the way, 34 megabytes. Now that's cute. And yeah, the 2012 version of Black Mesa ran quite well with the commands, as you can see, until it crashed here for some reason. But I have a question to anybody who unironically wants to play Black Mesa with the potato PC commands and not for the laughs. Why? I mean, why install Black Mesa in the first place? Just play the original Half-Life. It requires a lot less storage and it was even on calculators, for God's sake.